I was trying to find the right title for today's video. So I hit upon Artemis going to the moon again, because, yes, I know there are many savvy, uh, healthy Americans in my audience. And this video is not going to be really tearing apart all of the reasons why we are skeptical about going to the moon again, aside from the fact that we've never been back since. That's one that really puts a little hitch in the get along. But what I want to talk about is, like, let's just for the sake of argument, I did a video for you earlier this week about how to talk to people who don't want to hear what you have to say. So let's give the others the floor for the moment, and let's just join their perspective that the Artemis is going to the moon. And let's talk about sort of the reasons why that shouldn't be in just a moment. But let me backtrack a little bit. And the reason this is on my mind, not because I'm following NASA, I actually had to do a little research and pull together some info for this video, which will be a two-parter. So this broadcast is going to be, let's see what everybody else is saying and how we can respond to that. And then tomorrow, we're really going to dig deeper and get to some of the nuts and bolts of how this doesn't really all add up, if you know what I'm saying. And I think you do. But the reason this was on my mind is because I went for a swim and I was the only person in the pool. This was just recently before I got ready to broadcast. And there was a woman just sitting and looking up at the sky on the pool deck. Now, sometimes I do that because I'm looking at the streaks in the sky. Yes, the contrails. It's a big con, and I've done several videos. By the way, thank you to everyone who has sent me pictures of what's going on in your neck of the woods. I will return to the coverage of those contrails coming up very shortly. I got so many emails and so many pictures that I want to put that together in a slideshow with the names of the areas so that people can see how widespread this is. So that will be coming up. And I want to thank everybody for participating by emailing me support@thehealthyamerican.org. So I like it when people look up, because I'm thinking, all right, are they seeing what I'm seeing? And we can have a conversation. So I said, oh, what are you looking at? And she said, well, the Artemis space launch is supposed to happen at 6:21. Did you catch that number? 6:21. Actually, before I go any further, let's talk about why this space launch is not going to help you with your retirement or your money or your finances, but what actually can. So hold that thought. We're going to return to it. I do want to thank the sponsor of the video, and that is over at noblegoldinvestments.com. So let's hop on over, and I have a message for you there. Let me share my screen. Let me know if you have been following this launch. And by the way, whoops, it's over here. By the way, it is not a space shuttle. Did you know that? That was something that I didn't know. Talk about that as well. But what I want to talk about is your finances. And when was the last time you actually held your investment in your hand? I'm not talking about checking an app and doing all of your banking online, not watching a number on a screen, but actually held your investment. That's what I love about gold. We are talking about physical gold. It's real, it's tangible, and it is yours. There's no passwords. You know how I feel about that. The logins that put you in a big spin cycle, the verification of your password and all of that. You don't have to do these 6-digit verification codes on your phone. Friends, you know that this world is getting more and more digital. I'm fighting against it, and so are you. It's getting more complicated, but gold is simple. Noble Gold makes it simple and easy to have gold delivered right to your door. You pick it up, you pick it out, they ship it, and then you can have it in your hands, fully insured. So I would love for you to check it out over at noblegoldinvestments.com. If you are interested in turning your IRA into a gold investment, check it out. There is a bonus this month for April, a free 10th ounce American Gold Eagle coin for all new qualified accounts. Of course, there's always a risk of any kind of investment. Get your questions answered by the experts over at noblegoldinvestments.com. I'll have a link for you in the description box below. All right. Friends, what do you make of this Artemis landing? Or are they really going to land at all? Let's do this. I'm going to share my screen again. Oh, I wanted to get back to the launch time, 6:21. Why do you think that was selected? Now, I want to try not to be too snarky on this video because I know there are people that are going to click on this looking for coverage about Artemis. I'm going to share that coverage in just a moment from the NASA official website. But I do want to plant the seed that, well, let me just say it right off the bat. A lot of astronauts are Freemasons. And if you don't know what Freemasons are, I have an entire Freemason playlist for you over at my YouTube channel. So let's do this. I'm going to share my screen. We'll get to the coverage in just a moment, but I need to set the stage. So for those of you that are like, Peggy, just get to the point, you know what? I would just go on Instagram and scroll because I don't get to the point. I take you on a journey, the way that I think. Yes, there are little sidetracks and a little not distractions, but we go on the journey so that you can see how I'm thinking. Not exactly, I don't want to teach you, I don't want you to tell you what to think. I want to show you how to think and how to start putting these clues together. So the background is a lot of astronauts are Freemasons. If you don't know what Freemasons are, I'm giving you the behind the scenes at the Healthy American channel. This is the playlist, the videos that I have all about Freemasonry. So we look at Russell Brand, all of his gestures, his signs, his symbols. I would start with this one, Freemasonry, signs, symbols, and gestures. Oh, there's also this one, the Masonic Mormon. Let me just take you out from behind the scenes. The Masonic Mormon secrets revealed. And you have a tour. Oh my gosh. I don't know if this is going to be the spinning wheel here, but suffice it to say, I'll just click off that for now. Suffice it to say that I have a lot of research that I did about the Freemasons, and you can learn about that as well on my YouTube channel. And just a simple definition is that Freemasons are a secret society that are involved in occultic practices, meaning not of Christ, something that Christians shouldn't be involved in. At the lower levels, that's not revealed. So many well-meaning people join the Freemasons because they believe that it's like a civic group that does good for society. And perhaps at the lower levels that happens. But once you start getting to the higher levels, more and more is revealed. So I recommend that you watch that video. Of course, they're not going to reveal everything on a public channel, which is why it's secret. The Freemasons are secret, but suffice it to say that a lot of astronauts, including Buzz Aldrin, were Freemasons. Now, it is an occultic practice. It has a lot to do with the same rituals as witchcraft, including taking an oath that you will never spill the secrets. So when you ask the question, Peggy, why would they do this? Why would they lie about something so big, so much, in on the public stage? Well, because they have agreed to. And I just want to let you know, because we're going to see some of these Masonic signs and symbols and numbers. It might be news to you, but people communicate, especially the secret societies, communicate with codes, with numbers, with colors, with gestures, with symbols. If you don't believe that, you probably have never seen a football game or a baseball game, because they communicate with symbols and codes and numbers and all of that. So when I heard that this launch was going to happen at 6:21, I started calculating very easily. 6 plus 2 plus 1. Well, you've got 6, and then you've got 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 sixes, that is 6, 6, 6. I know, I can already hear people saying, Peggy, there you go again, reading into things. Well, yes, I do read into things, because that's what an investigator and a detective does. We collect the clues. So why didn't it launch at 6 o'clock or 6:10? I mean, 6:21 is such a strange, intentional number. So take it for what it's worth. I noticed that maybe you did as well. So let's hop on over and we'll just take, I don't know, a minute or two to listen to the Artemis crew. Let's see if I have, this is on the NASA website. So let me share my screen. We'll hop on over and I'll just share with you, because you probably didn't bother to take a look. And I understand why. All right. This was their live stream earlier. Is there any sound here?
High risk or emergency situations. And I think a lot of people, especially if they're have been following NASA for all these decades now, they're kind of thinking, hey, these look like the suits that our shuttle astronauts used to wear. They're
all right. Orange suits. So the reason I gave you that whole lead in about Freemasonry is the color associated with Freemasonry is orange. And here we have orange suits.
There's a lot of resemblance here.
That's true. Yeah, they are very similar. NASA does a great job of leveraging the lessons that we learn from previous missions. So dating all the way back to Apollo.
Oh, there's another one right here. I'm watching this with you. I did not view this previously. He's doing the OK sign, which is a very well-known Masonic symbol. Again, I refer you to my other videos if this is new to you. So it looks like they're in the chairs where people give blood. I mean, this looks really low tech. We can really break this down in greater detail tomorrow. As I say, this is a two-part video. I'm going to do a bonus video for you on Thursday, but let's just take another minute here. Drop a comment and let me know what you make of this scene. Does it look like it's theater? Does it look like they're just kind of doing this for the benefit of the television watching audience? And by the way, look at this. Broadcast was like over 6 hours. It was probably 6.5 hours, right? Going with their numbers.
Some of our first spaceflight missions, we learned lessons about the suits and how to make them better. And we just continued to carry that through all the way into the Artemis mission.
So like, what are they doing here? What are they actually doing?
To introduce you to some of our teams today. We have
this guy's got his eyes closed. She's putting on the gloves. I mean, it just looks weird to me.
Gary Jordan at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston.
What? There was another six sign
inside with the mission control teams, which will take over from Kennedy's launch control team right at liftoff.
Okay, let's take a look also at the Artemis logo. So that is a pyramid, and that is also a very well-known symbol of the Freemasons. Behind the woman here, we're shown the flight path. Apparently, they're circling the moon. Why don't they land on the moon? Inquiring minds want to know. And this is also an infinity sign, and that is associated with the occult as well. So we can, again, I'm just going through this with you right off the bat. These are the types of things that I look for. So some will say that this red swirl or swoop through the A looks like the serpent's tongue, which is what the NASA symbol also looks like, the forked tongue of the serpent. So I am getting a little far afield from what I originally told you I was going to talk about, which was, let's just join their fairy tale for a moment. And let's believe, I forgot to tell you the story. So I was at the pool and the woman's looking up and I said, what are you looking at? And she said, the Artemis is going to launch at 6:21. And I'm going, oh, what a coinkydink that I just happened to be at the pool. I grabbed my phone and she said, look, there it is. There it is. It's 3 men and a woman, and they're going to circle the earth, and then they're going to circle the moon 3 times. Why is my question. I didn't ask her. She was an elderly woman. I didn't want to upset her at the moment, but I thought it would behoove us to be able to have conversations with people who actually believe what the media is telling them. Because if I were to say, well, nobody's ever been to the moon, and why do you think they're doing that? It just, like, she would shut down. She wouldn't be able to even have the conversation. So I gave a video for you the other day with my techniques of how to have these conversations, but I wanted to go for my swim. I didn't really want to dive into this with her, but it got me thinking about why in the non-spinning world, if you can even send people to outer space, if there's even such a thing as outer space, like I've never seen it, why? That's my one word question is why? So I did a little digging because I wanted to find out how or if or what the reason was that NASA was even doing this. So on the NASA website, let's take a look there and let's see what their justification or verification or reasons why, if there can even be a valid reason why, for sending these people into space. So NASA sets coverage for Artemis 2 moon mission. It's not a space shuttle. I didn't know that. apparently the space shuttles have been retired and have been for about 15 years. But like, what is with these get-ups? Now, this is a family-friendly show, but you got to admit the placement of some of these items are very bizarre. Let's look at the torso, shall we? I mean, what is this? And below the torso, come on. I feel that these uniforms are just mocking people. So we're told that this is from the Canadian Space Agency. We've got this astronaut, Jeremy Hansen. So he's got the Canadian flag. So there's one Canadian. And then we've got Christina Koch. Yeah, I see. And then we've got Victor Glover and Reed Wiseman. Now it's interesting because wasn't there a Wiseman in that whole ice thing? I'm getting all of the psyops mixed up in my mind, but I know that there were a couple of wise man, that the wise man, like the three wise men, that must be it. Again, I will do a deeper dive for you tomorrow, but we're told that Koch, Wiseman, Glover, and Hansen are on this shuttle that left from Florida, which is where I am right now. So the information that I found, I'm not sure if I got it on this site or not, but let me just read to you what I got. Like, why are they even doing this? Oh, here it is on the Artemis page. The amount of money, this is what really troubles me, the amount of money that goes to this. So under Artemis, let me know if you know what Artemis means. Under Artemis, it is a Greek word. NASA will send astronauts on increasingly difficult missions to explore more of the moon for scientific discovery, economic benefits, and to build on our foundation for the first crewed mission to Mars. All right. They also said that the reason for the mission is to prove that NASA can still send people deep into space, and they need to justify the Artemis program. So they say that this is important for national security, for aerospace jobs, right, to keep that industry going, and future exploration. So here's what bothers me, and this is what I would have liked to have said to the woman if I had had more time and wasn't going for my swim. I would ask her, are you in favor of these space exploration programs? I think that's a great opener. Are you in favor of these programs? And see, you're not pouring out your skepticism and piling on the controversial topics and everything right now. You're asking for their opinion. And then if she said yes, I would say, why? And she probably doesn't have an answer because she probably never even thought about it. That's one of the beautiful things about asking questions. The other side, the other person, has to come up with their answers. They may have never even thought about whether or not it's a valuable program. That would be the next question I would have. How do you think this helps the everyday American? And then wait, because they're not going to have a very good answer. Does sending someone around the moon, does sending someone around the moon, how does that help us with our cost of living? Do you think the money that is the billions of dollars that go to NASA, do you think that money could be better spent here on Earth, on the non-spinning Earth? Oh, I don't know if you want to say that. Do you think that money would be better spent here on the Earth? It's hard for me to say non-spinning in our non-spinning world. How do you think sending this mission to the moon actually helps with our day-to-day lives? You see, these are the questions I would ask. I know people in my audience, including yours truly, we budget when we go to the grocery store. Some of you may be clipping coupons, doing the math, figuring out like, oh, I think I'll pass on that. Or you go like at the Publix here in South Florida, they have something called buy one, get one free. It's amazing. So I always shop the buy one, get one free because that helps with the pocketbook. How does going to the moon help with the pocketbook? Inquiring minds want to know. So NASA on the website says, well, we need to prove that this, I don't know if they say that exactly, but they want to prove that the system works, that the rocket, the capsule, the life support, the communications, the technology, the navigation, they're saying, well, we want to test it out so that we can go to Mars. Why? First of all, you're never going to go to Mars. Secondly, why would you even want to try when there is so much here on Earth that needs our attention? Don't you think that money could be better spent for, oh, I don't know, housing the homeless, taking care of orphans, taking care of the orphaned animals, helping people? I have an idea. Just return all of that money to we the people in the form of reducing our taxes. I always come back to that. If people could simply keep the money that they rightfully earn, whether it's through investments or through income or through retirement or through inheritance, or maybe you are even receiving Social Security, you have to pay a tax on it. Maybe you're even getting some other type of assistance. Why can't you keep the money that is rightfully yours? That would solve people not being able to afford where they live, people not being able to afford gas in their car. By the way, drop a comment and let me know how much gas is where you are. I want to cover that next week about why the gas prices are going up. Are the big oil companies gouging us? Is it because of the war or is something else afoot? I definitely want to cover that. But this whole, even if we are going to take them at their word, which I don't, but even because I'm of a skeptical nature and I have not received any convincing evidence at all that what NASA says happens. In fact, I've seen the exact opposite. I have videos on this channel where I show you the artists who create the renderings of the moon and the other elements, planets that were shown. These are not even the Hubble telescope. That's all created. Well, I don't even know if it's AI or just some guy doing a computer program, but I've covered that on this channel previously. So even if I were to believe what NASA is saying and that sweet elderly woman at the pool watching with anticipation, the 3 men and a woman circling the moon, why didn't they land? That would be another opener you could ask. Why aren't they landing? I mean, just like you're curious, you're just asking these provocative, I don't even know if they're provocative, just normal questions. It doesn't make sense to me that we even have this program, even if we were to believe what they say. So apparently this Artemis has been tied to years of delays. There's technical setbacks. There's all kinds of launch programs and problems. And so I guess they're trying to prove that all of that money that has gone in has actually been beneficial in terms of, well, we've got more jobs going on. There's future industry, future science. And then the US has to be #1 in the space race. Why? And is there even such a thing? Let me look this up. Artemis. I want to see what the name means. Okay, it is a Greek goddess. It is derived from the goddess of the hunt, wilderness, and the moon. The name is often associated with meanings like safe or butcher. That's kind of bizarre. It's a gender neutral name, of course. It can be a female name or a masculine name. So I guess we've got the transgender, gender fluid, gender neutral spaceship. All right. So it is, friends, I wanted to be somewhat lighthearted today. Let me take a look at your comments. Let me see if I have anything more. Oh, let me do this. Let me share with you before talking about Freemasons. This is live, so thanks for rolling with me. And here's something else I wanted to share. Did you know there's a Masonic lodge on the moon? Can you believe they put a Masonic lodge on the moon? Lodge on the moon. Is YouTube going to ding me because I'm singing a song that probably has a copyright? And this is from the Bedfordshire Freemasons.org. All right, going right to the source. Did you know there's a Masonic lodge on the moon? On July 20th in 1969, two American astronauts landed on the moon in an area known as the Sea of Tranquility. One of those brave men was Brother Edwin Eugene Buzz Aldrin, a member of Clear Lake Lodge number 1417 in Texas. Brother Buzz, oh my gosh, I've got so much more I could joke about here. Brother Buzz, let's see, we've got Brother Buzz, we've got Christina Koch, we've got the Wise Man, and we've got the Masonic provocative uniforms. Brother Buzz was authorized by the Grand Master of Texas to claim Masonic territorial jurisdiction for the Grand Lodge of Texas on the moon. Buzz Aldrin conducted the consecration of the first Masonic lodge on the moon, securing the right to open a branch, the Grand Provincial Moon Lodge. Oh my gosh, the astronauts did not doubt that by 2000 there would be a permanent lunar base, and it would be no harder to get there than to fly from San Francisco to Boston. It would all be a transfer point on the way to Mars or the rings of Saturn. Are you ready for this, friends? Given how many Freemasons there were in NASA's astronaut squad, it was quite logical to open a special lodge for them. I am not making this up. I will have a link for you in my Substack, which is peggyhall.substack.com. And here we have the Freemasons among the stars, the Freemason astronauts. Let me increase the size here. The Scottish Rite. This is right at the horse's mouth, if you know what I'm saying. Masons are men on a quest to become a part of something bigger than themselves. Friends, I don't like to get into the horrors of horrible things that are perpetrated upon innocent young children. So I don't want to go too far into what some have said really happens at the higher degrees of Freemasonry. But does that look like someone you could trust? John Glenn, 33rd degree Freemason. He's wearing the orange Freemasonry getup. I guess they're wearing the same ones in the Artemis. And here we've got Buzz Aldrin. These pictures are very poor quality. And Leroy Gordon Cooper. It just goes on and on. So we can connect the clots, as I like to say. And we now, with evidence, irrefutable evidence, a number of astronauts are associated, or are Freemasons, are the highest level degree of Freemasonry. Freemasons are a secret society involved in the occult at the higher levels and involved in even more heinous acts that are not going to be exposed on these YouTube channels that are taking you around the Masonic Lodge. Now we have the connection to NASA. Secret societies, hiding the truth, being sworn to secrecy, and NASA. Now, I'm not going to unload that on the sweet lady at the swimming pool, but I am going to ask her these questions. Do you believe in these missions? Do you support this? Why? How does this help everyday Americans? Later, if they're receptive, you can use the technique I taught in the video I did on Monday about why people resist the truth, how to have conversations with people who don't want to hear what you have to say, because there is a technique for doing that. All right. I really appreciate you being here, friends. I've got the free Substack, peggyhall.substack.com, and I'm going to do a bonus video for you doing a deeper dive as to why I'm highly skeptical about NASA and any of their claims. And before we sign off, let's take a look at your comments here, shall we? Oh, they are flying by. I don't even think I can catch up with all of your comments. Oh my gosh. Oh, let's see. Charlie says, oh, let me see if I can pause these comments for a second. Charlie says, everything is so fake. Knowing that, it sometimes makes me feel better, and sometimes it makes me feel worse. Let me go ahead and share the screen so we can see some of your comments here, friends. Let me just say, I really appreciate the moderators here at Rhonda and Valerie, day in, day out. They're here keeping the stream flowing. And big round of applause to Rhonda, who shipped me a box of citrus all the way from sunny Southern California to sunny Florida. Thank you, Rhonda. Everything arrived perfectly, and I'm going to enjoy that. Awaken for Jesus says, I love how God is exposing all for those with eyes. Valerie's so funny. She said the Masonic Lodge must be on the dark side of the moon. Oh, there, I just want to scroll through some of the earlier comments here. Okay. Debbie says, moving as fast as you would have to move to do their rings around the earth or the moon or the earth. The moon. They were going around the moon. So they say, how would you have to do that in 10 days? How could they do any kind of discovery? Magical Steven says, happy April Fool's Day, everyone. And that's what I thought. I thought this was a big, fat joke. Joe says, is it a trans space flight in that the name is male and female? And Magical Steven says, there isn't. No, there isn't. No one has ever landed on the moon. Well, I'll tell you, drop a comment, because what I'm going to do is look at all of your comments after I'm off the video. And I love sharing your comments in the Substack. And then tomorrow, I'm going to share some of the top comments in tomorrow's video. But what I really want is for you to tell me why you believe what you believe, and the strongest evidence that we didn't go to the moon. I have a whole laundry list for you as well. Again, I don't want to scare away the people that are just coming to terms with this. I want to have a rational conversation. I could have gotten super snarky, and I know there probably are some YouTubers out there that are doing a great job, but I wanted to be a little more level-headed and inviting in for people who are like, what do you mean, Peggy? Hello? A giant step for mankind. And I get that, because there are people who are aware and awake about certain things, but when it comes to these giant things, it's harder for them to believe that they were hoodwinked, duped, and snookered and bamboozled. And let me just say, hoodwinked is a Masonic term, because you've got the hood over your face when you go in for your initiation. It's quite bizarre. And I know a lot of you have told me of your connections to Freemasonry, that you had a father or even a husband, or you worked with someone. And as I say, at the lower levels, they are assuming that it's like a civic group that is doing good for the community. But once you start climbing through those higher levels, and why should it be secret? If you're doing good for the community, why not have it out in the open? There's another question for you. So I'm going to take a look at your comments. I want you to give me the most persuasive evidence as to why we didn't go to the moon, such as why have we never been back? That's a really good one. Oh, and by the way, who put the camera on the moon to film the moon landing? I always wondered about that one. Yeah. Aside from the fact, well, there's so many things. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to cover that tomorrow and maybe touch a little bit more on some of the weird stuff that we're being told in the news and from NASA. If you can't get enough, check out my NASA. I don't know if I have a NASA playlist, but you can just search on my channel for NASA and you'll see some of the artists' renderings and all that kind of stuff. So I got to finish off with this one. Brian and Debbie said the rover was made out of tinfoil, lawn chairs, and pool noodles. Yes, when I looked at that, and again, the shock and awe of what you're being told is happening. The rational mind gets hijacked and people start going on their emotions. And they years later, they look back at what they were shown and they're like, oh, that doesn't really add up. There's so much. You can also watch the press concert, as I call it, because it really is a performance, the press concert of the astronauts that landed on the moon. And you'll see how uncomfortable they are, how awkward, how they're not sure if they're saying the right thing. They're not able to answer the questions consistently. It's a huge giveaway. There are so many smoking guns, if I can use that phrase, red flags, and things that plumb don't add up. All right, friends. Oh, yes, that's the other one Tracy said. They made a phone call to the Earth on a landline. I think that's amazing, because sometimes, like in my house, there's one part of my house where if I'm talking to my husband, he's at Publix buying the buy one, get one free. And I'm trying to tell him, don't forget to pick up. I lose reception. But that's because I'm in my house and it's made out of concrete. I'm sure it's not because they were on the moon and they called on a landline, actually a moon line to a landline. I think that was pretty funny too. Okay, so I love what you guys are saying, and I'm gonna take all those comments and we're gonna dive in, and we'll have a rollicking ride tomorrow. So let me just give a little caveat. I'll give that at the start of tomorrow's video. It's only suitable with those who enjoy snark and have eyes to see and ears to hear the truth that might have been hidden by the Freemasons, because, well, how do I put it delicately? That's their job. The secret societies want to keep things secret. All right, friends, I love our get-togethers. Thanks for being on board. Get on that free Substack, and I'll see you